It is July 2nd, and of course, this is the video that takes 30,000 to a million. After I show you the account, I want to briefly talk about Apple and why it's such a great and big position in my account, and how it serves as a great diversifier in many different ways. I mentioned this briefly on a different episode, so I'm going to break it down just a little bit more in detail so you can see what's going on. Oh, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be full screen. You get the point. This is my account. I'm going to go back to the browser and show you what's up. So $93,164. It says minus 856, but that's a little bit fallacious, as pre-market was pushed quite a bit higher than what it is, than what it closed at in the previous day. So let's go through the positions real quick. As always, you can pause the browser at any time. You can view the option here. It's this is the symbol of the option, the strike price, the expiration date, and the type of contract and how many contracts I have. And from this information, you can derive all other information that you're interested in as far as my position goes. So I still have lots of options, some of them expiring very quickly. This one's expiring at the end of the month. I just had an option expired today. I probably will re-roll it. I think it's on Norwegian cruise liners. So here they are. I'm just going to scroll through them quickly. I still have options that are definitely expiring. So I'll be erasing that liability pretty soon and re-rolling some more, and probably some more put options for realty income. The Apple option went down a little bit today, as Apple went down towards the end of the day. It finished at plus 55, but it was up as much as, plus a lot, 1.6%, and finished about 0, up 0.2 in the aftermarket. So here's the rest of my positions. Excuse me. I'm going to sort it by total return so you can see how much influence it has on my account. And you can always pause. I don't know why it's grayed out. It doesn't want to load. DEM had a really nice day. That's emerging market ETF or exchange traded fund. And of course there are fireworks going on because it's close to 4th of July, so people are blowing stuff up. Unfortunately, the rest of my account will not load. And that's okay. I will go to this tab and see if this loads. Oops, not this. The account tab, so I can show you that I still have $5,000 worth of cash in positions. My silver options expired. Actually closed them on the day that expiration day, and that was about $300 profit from the 3 silver options that I had, SLV options. So that was nice. Those are some calls that I actually profited from, buying calls, which is rare. And now I'm back up to $5,000 of cash position. So if something happens to the markets, if there is some correction, I'm ready to take some action. I'll most likely be buying DEM and O on the dips, as well as Apple if it happens to drop down towards the $300 level. And this doesn't give you much position except to kind of see why Apple is such a big portion of this account. 75 shares, and I don't have obviously a call sold against it. I need at least 100 shares to do that. But what I do have is I purchased a call, so it's actually a bigger portion of the account than it seems here. And as you can see, I already have a total return on these 75 shares of 7,371. And if I sort it by equity and by profit, Apple is number 1. And it's a very good segue into talking about Apple and why Apple is such a good position, and how I'm not really doing myself a disservice by not diversifying a lot, even though it's just one company. Apple, oops, jumped the gun. It actually serves many purposes in an account. It's a great diversifier. So it's not only a geographical diversifier with a good jurisdiction as a home base, which is the US, and they're nimble enough to where they can move production from region to region, and I'm sure they'll have no trouble moving headquarters and everything else if the crap hit the fan over here in the US, which I don't think it will. US is still, you can debate me on this if you want, but U.S. is still the most pro-business country jurisdiction out there, so I'm not too upset about Apple being headquartered here. So geographically, it's very diversified, right? It has production in one country, it has clientele all over the world. The entire world can get their hands on an Apple headset or a hand device like a phone or whatever. So, but not only that, it also is a great diversifier when it comes to um, sectors, and that's one thing that people don't usually think about. Is like, okay, yeah, globally it's okay, but what about sectors? It's just technology, right? Well, not really. First of all, it's in a security. It's a security company. I mean, it has all kinds of network security. It's famed for being one of the most secure platforms out there, right? Their security software is usually very hard to crack. They're also a data storage company, right? They have the iCloud and they charge people for data storage, so they have a cloud business. They're also a media slash news program. You can put music streaming and TV video and Apple Plus and Shazam all in there, right? So they have a lot to do with the media. So if you think communications and media is important, then you can invest in Apple. Um, they're also a technology company when it comes to, well, we already covered the hardware part, but not just mobile, right? Not just phones. You have computers, you have personal computers, you have tablets, you have all kinds of tech and augmented reality, etc. So it's a bet on the future technology as well. And then you have all kinds of other software like their operating systems, and they have a ton of applications, right, that can be used for productivity or for whatnot. And then they also have wearables. They're a wearables company and a fashion company. If you think about the earphones, not earphones, earbuds or whatever, they're very fashionable, right? They're fashion forward. Like people wear them even if they don't have to. Like they've managed to change the perception of the crowd and make them look cool and a status symbol. So people walk around with the Apple Pods in their ears, and it is what it is. I mean, I personally don't care too much for them, but other people do, and it doesn't matter what my opinion is. It matters what the crowd opinion is and their customers. So, and they also have the watch. I'm also not a huge fan of the watch, but that again, my opinion doesn't matter. A lot of people are buying the watch. They're very expensive. They're very functional. They're very good, and it's a big business, right? So, and it's also a bit fashionable. So, they're in that business as well, and very big players in that business. They're also into financials. Okay, many people forget that they have Apple Card and Apple Pay. So they have the PayPal version of. They have their own PayPal version, and they try to make financial transactions easy across their platforms. And they also have the Apple Card, which people kind of forget about already, that they partnered with Goldman Sachs to create. So they're into the finance business. I mean, they're doing this. And they're also in healthcare, right? With the Apple Watch and applications, and they bought up a couple like healthcare companies to help them deal with like health tracking and all that, and with their pulse beat and tracking, though they're working on implementing all kinds of technologies to help like elderly people stay healthy, but not just elderly, like I don't know, diabetics and stuff. I'm not a really big buff on healthcare, but they're definitely in that business. And I've heard on calls that their executives talking about that. So I'm sure they're venturing in there in a heavy way. And who knows? At some point, they might be into the transportation business, like the meme where Apple was supposed to buy Tesla, which is not gonna happen probably, but they're kind of in the same lane. I think Apple was experimenting with all that's with drive with transportation as well, but that might be just me mixing things up. Either way, that's enough sectors. I mean, this is a really big and good list about how diversified they are across sectors, and with one company you can cover a lot of bases. Um, Even if you don't like a couple of them, there's still a bet. And chances are that if a company does well, in one thing, they're probably going to try to do their best in another. And they're so cash rich, they can just buy up the company that does better. So even though they're not a big like acquisition type of company, and that's good, they'll try to compete in house with the products instead of buying them outright. But that's also a good feature. I mean, that means that the cash flow is going to be there. They're not going to be spending too much money on, acquisitions, mergers and acquisitions and stuff like that. So they're going to have plenty of money for that dividend. So I think this company covers a lot of bases, and it's not like I'm a Apple fanboy. I just told you I don't like the pods. I don't like a lot of their products. I don't use their PCs. I don't like the iOS. I just like their phone. I think their phones are great. So I'm sporting the whatever number it is, 11 Pro, 12 Pro, 13 Pro. I don't know what it is. So 11 Pro, I think, the 3 camera one. And I'm probably going to buy the new one. I don't know why, but maybe I shouldn't save that money. But this phone's good enough. We'll see. When time comes, I'll make that decision. But that's really all I have to say about it. And I think that I can defend having a big position in Apple pretty well with that argument. If you think that's a poor argument, let me know. And if you think that one company is too big of a risk, given the one that's this size and this important, and perhaps even one day will enter the too big to fail category, even though it's nowhere near failing, let me know. Let me know what you think about it. If I'm wrong about it, it's a crap company, too overvalued, whatever. I'm interested to hear counterpoints to what my opinion is, as always, so I can come to a better conclusion about the investments. I don't want to close a blind eye to anything that could potentially help me save more money or make more money. All right, hopefully y'all are making more money than me. I'm sitting at 93,000, which is near an all-time high that I've scored recently. Certainly scoring new all-time highs like the Nasdaq, and I'm really happy about that. Swam away from the downturn really well, and who knows? Perhaps there's going to be another downturns that I'll have to swim out of and catch some more falling knives, or at least try to. But we'll see. Okay, well, let me know what you think about Apple and whether or not one should have a large allocation of Apple in their account or not. Certainly one as large as mine, maybe like 25%, 25%. Okay, I think that's it for now. I'll probably make another video on Monday. All right, hopefully you all are doing great and making more money than me. Peace.